Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Jamie here. Thanks for joining me in this video. This one's a pretty cool one. Katja is one of our students for the Super Affiliate Accelerator and kind of launched right off the starting blocks, and within 6 months time had generated over $30,000 in revenue. So what you're about to check out is the interview we just did with her. If you get any benefit out of this, which I suspect you will, she talks about some incredible stuff when it comes to her journey in the online space, specifically in affiliate marketing. Drop a comment below, and of course feel free to hit the subscribe button if you'd like to start the day with everything that I'm going to be putting out, which is hopefully a lot of stuff. Anyway, catch you guys right after this. Hey, what's going on, everyone? You're joined by none other than myself, Jamie, Katja, and Jacob for the interview with Katja, who's one of the SAA students, absolutely crushing it at the moment. And yeah, absolutely honoured to have you on board. So I might just give it a couple of moments, see if we get a few folks rocking up, and we'll kick things off. So if you happen to jump on, just smash that heart button, drop the hashtag live, just helps the message get a little bit further out to the algorithm. And of course, if you do happen to watch the replay, smash that heart button once again and drop a hashtag replay. Give me a moment there. I'm just going to see who we got.
What's going on, everybody? Hope you're all doing well. Got another special guest coming to share our story. This is going to be a fun one.
Should be good. Thanks for tuning in, folks. If you do get the chance, there's a little button just above the live, and it from StreamYard, and it just allows us to see who's commenting there. Thanks for staying up, whoever that is. That's awesome. We'll make sure that it's well and truly loaded with value, make it worth your time for staying up. Something cool. How you doing, man? Good to see you, folks. Alrighty. Cool. Oh yeah, late one for you guys, Los Angeles. John, how you doing? The man that never sleeps. I like it. Cody, how you doing, man? Cool. So Katja, welcome. Thanks so much for joining us. Absolutely amazing to have you here, and very honoured to hopefully have you spill the beans and give all the secret sauce as to how you managed to go off it, and what seems like pretty rapid succession from the outside. So to kick things off, I guess just to give a bit of a hello and a bit of an intro. Who are you and where you're from and all that sort of stuff, and how did you get started in affiliate marketing?
Well, I'm well, thank you. Thank you for having me. Really an honor to be here to talk to both of you like this, almost in person. Yeah, I'm from Slovenia. It's a small country in Europe, and I live 20 kilometers from the capital in the middle of Europe. But my main issue always is the connection. So if I just freeze here, yeah, this is it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I guess for the folks at home, do you want to tell us a little bit about your story in terms of how you got into affiliate marketing, and I guess why affiliate marketing specifically?
Yeah, it was that 2020, awful 2020, and before that I had a business. I had a company, small company. We worked on creating packaging for food packaging, creating for food items. Like I developed concepts, and I had designers to create like everything else, and it went well. We depended on local clients. There are a lot of food producers here, so we just did that, and it went well. It went like just on its own, but then when 2020 came, well, they got shut down. They stopped developing their new products, and the first thing that they were like canceling were new products, and we did us, so I was like, okay, what to do now? These local clients, this is like not really good to be depending on. I want to do something else. And also it was a comfortable work You know, I did it for a while, but it wasn't like really, it was a routine already. So I said, okay, let me find something new. And then I just started searching. I came into a program that was like all about online marketing, all different stuff, and you can do this, and you can do this, and you can do this. And I said, okay, this would be good for me to see, to try it. But then it was like foggy. It was like, okay, I want to do it. I don't want to just like read a book and, oh, interesting. I want to do this, you know, I want to.
Yeah.
And I did everything they said, but and I worked hard for it, but it didn't work. You know, I tried web pages, I built a web store, I developed my own product for that web store, and nothing really. Like I was expecting, I know, but I was expecting that if I build that stuff, that it will just work. You know, that okay, like you start a car and it drives on its own. You know. And I now know, of course, that it doesn't work this way. But yeah, back then I was okay. If they say it will work, then it will work. So I just went with it, and it didn't work. And my first thought then, when I figured that it won't work on its own, was either this whole thing is a scam or I'm missing something.
Yeah.
This two. But the whole affiliate marketing concept then that I just like took out of everything. Affiliate marketing was the most like, it sounded doable to me, and it sounded like something that I really would like, because you can choose who you work with, what you work with, and it must be that I'm missing something, because the whole business model sounds logical, and it sounds like something that a normal person could do. So I started to look for what I'm missing, and the more and more I figured that what I'm missing is I don't know how to do marketing. I don't know how to do selling. You know, I built a web page, and it obviously doesn't do the marketing and selling for me. So I had, maybe I should dive into this. And right about that moment, he stumbled upon me, an affiliate marketer, and we talked. He answered all those questions, and he gave me clarity. I had a lot of questions, and he was patient. He was talking to me a lot, and it sounded more and more logical. Yes. Okay, so I want to develop my skills in marketing and selling, and then I can do whatever, and I just then chose that for now. Affiliate marketing is a great thing to do, because I can focus on learning. I can focus on just this fundamental stuff. So that's how by Christmas last year, I
joined SAA. That's awesome. Thanks so much for kind of filling in the backstory there. It's kind of I think a familiar path for a lot of people. It feels like when you hit that initial roadblock after you've got started with something, and it's either like, okay, well, this isn't for me, and I'm going to head elsewhere, or you just make that decision like, do I want to take this seriously? Because if other people are getting results, then surely I can get the results too. And so therefore you usually go and search, which is seems to be quite a typical pathway for a lot of people. So you sort of at that point, I'm not entirely sure when it was exactly, but I just remember it felt like every day in the thread in SAA it would just be like, oh, congratulations, Katja, and high ticket sale, congratulations, Katja, and high ticket sale, and which was amazing, but it felt like it just kind of came out of nowhere. Like, who is this lady? Where did she come from? This is incredible. What do you think it was that helped you start to kind of, I guess, see some results first and foremost, and then obviously leverage that momentum to continue those results?
Well, I didn't expect monetary results to happen that fast. I would be glad in that moment, because I was really but I didn't expect them. I thought that I have so much to learn, and I will just learn. I will just treat this as a study period for me. I will try everything that coaches, that you tell me, that mentors. I will try everything. I will do everything because you know the stuff and I don't. And I will just go with it and test it and play with it and just research the stuff, like practice through and learn along. And I will see what will happen because I knew that I just needed to learn the skills. That it's not that you will give me a button and I will push it. It's not about and you don't have any buttons, right?
No.
No. So so this keep it as a study period, and not expecting anything out other than you will learn, I will learn, and I would like connect with people that I like. And this was like my stand back then.
That's amazing. We had another interview recently, and one of the topics that came out of that was, and it's somewhat of a theme within SAA in itself, is that we talk about detachment a lot of the time. And it's obviously something quite easy to say, just be detached, don't worry about the sales, it's fine. But because I know that the end goal is to obviously make sales and get some form of income. Otherwise, what's the point of doing this? But it's really interesting to hear that the pathway for you has started off with that sense of detachment. Like, I just want to learn this stuff and I just want to have fun with it. And I think that there is a massive lesson for anyone watching, that if you can find a way to remove the need for that outcome, which obviously is sales, all that type of stuff, it's ironic how the sales tend to come, because you're focusing more on the inputs and the things that you can control, as opposed to things that you can't always control, whether someone buys, things like that. So that's very, very powerful stuff.
I think, let me jump in there real quick, Jamie.
Yeah, for sure.
The other thing that I take out of that is, in this world that we play in, you've got people who so quickly want to jump from being completely fresh to being the expert, or being the whatever you want to call it, right? And they're so conscious of the optics of how they present their content. They want to look like the person immediately that knows everything. And that's the person that they feel like they have to try and portray through their content, through their lives, all that kind of stuff. When it's just not the reality. So what Katja's saying of, she went into a period knowing that, Jamie probably knows more about selling, and accepting that fact. And that's not a bad thing. It's just a virtue of time and runs on the board from doing. Right. Whereas I think a lot of people get so caught up in the optics of presenting that they are the expert, that they're 3 minutes into the game, and it goes to their head. Right. They're not presenting. They're not showing up like a student. They're trying to show up so that everyone thinks that they're the guru instantly, and it can become pretty toxic. I think the second you lose that genuine, raw curiosity of what can I learn from this person or this situation, and that line is not dictated by how much money someone's made. In my books, I've paid people to mentor me who have earned a hell of a lot less money than me, because they've got something that they can teach me. I think as soon as you lose that appetite and perspective of what can I learn here, and you let it go to your head that I'm the shit, right? You need self-confidence, but as soon as you feel like you've learned everything, you're done. So I think that's a huge, huge thing, is that, Katja knew that she had a big learning curve to go through, and embraced that fact. And then that ties in perfectly to what you kind of picked up around detachment.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So on that note, though, I'm guessing there would have been some, like, because, it's easy to say, I didn't expect much to happen, but there must have been something like a goal or like an outcome that you did eventually want at some point. So I guess what kind of fueled you in the initial stages, just to go, okay, I'm just going to continue learning and growing with that type of stuff, like, as opposed to not expecting the sales to come immediately, but where's the motivating factor if that's not the expectation type thing?
It was learning with purpose. Absolutely. It was learning with purpose. It was like, okay, I have to learn this to be able to do this, to be able to generate income, to be able to make a living for my family, because I'm single, I have 2 kids, and everything started out of this necessity. But what I figured was, with knowledge that I had, with experience that I had before, I couldn't do it. It was I needed something new. So yes, it was definitely to make a living out of it. But I knew that if I will learn, and if I will focus, and if I will, if it won't happen, then this means that I have to learn more. That I just didn't refine it yet enough. That I didn't listen well enough, and I just got back. Let's say I listened to a few trainings in SAA. Like some of them I listened to, like, I don't know, like 15 times. I just want to. I know that interview that you have with Andy. This is like I probably I know it by heart, you know, and because this was like, okay, yeah, this guy knows it, you know, this guy knows it, and how can I learn just this? And yeah, but yes, absolutely, with the purpose. I want to make it. I want to make this working for me, you know. Because I love it. Actually, it's an amazing work to do, and I want to make it here because it's like it's win-win-win, you know, all the wins, you know.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And that sort of touches on another thing, which is, I always thought it was a cliche, but I sort of understand that there's a heck of a lot of truth behind it, which is if you're not enjoying the process, it's going to become that part of it, which starts off as challenging, becomes mind-numbing after a while, because you're not enjoying it, you're not taking any sort of enjoyment out of the learning process, out of the implementation process. So I think that in itself is also another really vital part of your story, by the sounds of it.
The other thing I take out of that, Katja, what you're describing there, where you find one piece of content and you watch it 10, 15, 20 times. I've done that same thing with courses. You feel something about a certain video or a certain message that someone's trying to portray. I've done it with free like YouTube videos as well. There's certain ones where you know there's an important part to it.
Yeah.
And every time you listen to it, you pick up something a little bit different. But what that represents, and when we try and do these interviews, the reason that we're doing them is for the folks that haven't quite had that breakthrough yet. If you can pick up one action trait or character trait from Katja that she's doing that maybe you're not doing, right? And that's not a slight on anybody. It's just, again, we can all do better. You know, I can do better. Jamie can do better. We can all do better. That to me indicates an attitude of obsession and immersion into the content, into the subject matter, and a desire to really, really figure out as much as you can, right? Skirting through and flicking through all the videos, you might pick up a little bit of stuff, but I'm going to learn as much as I can about sales, and watching that video that goes for, I think it goes for nearly 2 hours.
Yeah,
that many times over. That's the character trait in there that is important to take away from it. Sure, you can take away, oh, maybe I should go watch that interview with Andy and it's brilliant and I would recommend it. But the character trait is the real thing there, which is immersing yourself in information that you know can help you and not just skimming it so you can tick the box.
Yes, but I would add not only like immersing, but also whatever you pick up from each time that you listen to something, just go and test, just try how it feels for you, because something won't work for you, something will work for you, and you just go and test them. I treat it for first, I don't know how many Zooms, I just treated them as, and I still do this, just as a practice, so I will give people clarity, but they will give me a chance to practice, so it's like all the time, just to refine the process, to see what's working for you.
That's amazing. Yeah, incredible stuff. That absorption is massively powerful. It's like, for me, the only thing I can relate it to is rewatching old movies that I already know what happens, but every time you watch that old movie, there's a new scene or a new line that you pick up or something. And that happens with trainings and stuff as well. So what do you feel like, obviously, when you started knocking over sales, that felt, like I say before, it felt like there was a whole bunch of them happened in really quick succession. Can you kind of talk us through, I guess, like, well, first of all, how did it feel first and foremost, and then what made you kind of just leverage that momentum to go on to the next and next and next and next and so on and so forth?
Yeah, I remember my first sale, absolutely. Yes, I know it was like Friday evening, and that person just messaged me that she purchased the product, and I was like, unbelievable. It was like 6 weeks after I started everything, and I was just talking to that person, and I was just explaining to her why this stuff can work, and the stuff that she was working on is right, why this is like better way. And we were just talking, and she said, well, I decided I will purchase. And I was, amazing, how incredible that she trusted me that much, that she valued my words that much, that she valued what I learned in only those like short 6 weeks that much, that this can make such a difference for another person, yes, then I said, okay, so this stuff actually, not that I think that it works, now I have the proof, also. So this is how the whole process looks like. And how I leveraged it, well, it just gave me like some ease I became even, okay, so I can do this. I can definitely do it. Maybe not with this person, maybe not with that person, but I can definitely do it. And I started to play and test even more. And you encourage a lot to test, to try, to see. Maybe it will work, maybe it won't work. Your word, Jamie, when you say, well, the worst thing that can happen, the person can ghost you, or they can say no, or they can, say yes. So yeah, this is not that awful, So you can test, and you can just, and with that first sale, and then shortly 2 more came, I was just like, okay, so definitely testing is good, and definitely, again, it was just proof that what you tell me, that what you teach me is like working. Yeah, so I just played more, I just had some more confidence that I can be even more authentic. I can talk even more in details in my content. I can, everything just like enhanced.
Love that. Something you mentioned there, I think was really, really fascinating, which is the 0 to first sale part. The distance was, did you say 6 weeks?
Yeah.
And the reason why I find that massively powerful is because a lot of people, when they are selling something, especially high ticket information in particular, they approach it with their own set of perhaps inhibition, I guess might be the right word. Whereas they think, oh, well, why would anyone buy from me because I'm new? And it's this thing of like, this is prime example right here. It's because you're curious about what to do and how to improve, and you have the confidence, I guess, within yourself and within the program to ask the question, which I think is amazing. And because you're sharing your experience, it goes to show that you don't necessarily need to be the person with 1,000 sales to then make more sales. It can happen at any level. And I think that's a massive takeaway for anyone tuning in as well, is that, no matter where you are on the ladder, 0 rung or 100 rung on the ladder, so to speak, it doesn't matter, because there's going to be a whole bunch of reasons why people would wish to buy from you versus someone else, which I think is really, really powerful.
Yeah. The other cool thing that Katja said was, I can't remember the exact word, but it was short 6 weeks. I think you said that little word in there. Short. Some people go 6 weeks and go, this doesn't happen in 6 weeks, I'm out. All right. Short 6 weeks indicates to me the mindset that Katja was in and still is in, about how this is a long-term thing. And taking that approach to learning a skill set that can pay you for years and decades is a pretty wise approach. And to back up what Jamie just said about people buy from beginners, absolutely. You know, we regularly get emails to our support who say, hey, I want to buy from insert name, and I want to make sure that they get the commission. And very, very often that name isn't Aaron. Like, it's not always. Quite frequently, it's this person took the time to give me special attention. They made me a really good offer, and I want to make sure that they get compensated accordingly. It's really, really common, and it doesn't matter what your results are. People buy from you if you show them care and put their needs and wants ahead of your own. And really listen.
Yeah, the insights that you have when you just jump in, when you're just new, and you can understand the person much better on the other side, because you are like, just the moment you were back, you were there, and you can really relate to them, and they can relate to you. So if you're just like honest, you can relate to that person who is thinking, who doesn't have a solution yet, much better than I don't know, you know, people much further away, you know, because you were just there. You just knew, you remember, you know how it feels. So if you just share this, then they will relate already. So I think that being a new person actually is a strength if you use it this way. You know, if you just are transparent and you're just saying, yeah, I'm new too, you know, so we can be new together, you know, and we can support each other, you know. It's like, and it feels better than to pretend that you're someone. That pretending
works better.
Yeah.
We've spoken about this before. We called it the beginner's advantage. And there's two ways you can look at every situation. You can either look at that and go, oh, woe is me, I'm a beginner. Everyone was a beginner. Everyone started somewhere. Or you can do what Katja just did and look at it from a positive perspective and go, no, that means I'm more relatable. I'm closer to this person. I can bet you someone just starting is going to want to learn directly from Katja more than they're going to want to learn directly from myself or from Jamie, because of how close she is to where they are right now. It's just the way that it is. It's a virtue of time and a virtue of, you know, runs on the board. As I said before, her story is going to be more relatable because she's just been through it. That is a genuine asset for a beginner in this game.
One disadvantage, potential disadvantage when you've been doing it for a little while, is when you start waving around big screenshots. For most people, their financial thermostat isn't dialed in at that level, so therefore there's a subconscious disconnect between, you know, 20 grand, 40 grand a month or whatever versus, you know, someone who's just starting out in their journey. I think it's actually, as pointed out by both of you, it's actually massively powerful for that exact reason. It's because it's relatable. But as mentioned though, I think the important takeaway is actually the attitude of that, rather than just going, you know, oh, what was me? I'm new, so why would people buy from me? It's like, I'm new, and that's why people are going to buy from me, which I think is absolutely awesome. So I guess in every person's journey, there is going to be things that pop up that are frustrating and that don't work out according to plan. In your case so far, have you had any sort of major hurdles that you've had to overcome?
Yeah, sure. You know, only just by coming from a work that actually paid like you know, constantly. It was like a regular job, almost like this, and to dive into here where you don't really know what will happen next week, next month, and with your paycheck and everything, it actually paycheck doesn't exist. You have to, you know, this is like a major like mindset stuff that I had to work through, that now I I was depending on myself before too, but I had regular clients, and now I'm depending totally on myself. And this means that if I don't, sit and do the work, then the work won't be done. So yeah, you have some bad days, but and I learned this also from you. When you have bad days, just do the tasks, and the day will be over, and you did the stuff, and you will. And then when you see it this way, then after that bad day, you say, well, yeah, but I still did it. I still did the work. I still, put in the, everything that I can. And this is like then the best day. It's easy to work when you are in the flow. It's easy to work when you have like the best conversations ever. But if it's tough and if it's like, then it's even better afterwards. It's like, I did it. Even now, even today, yeah, this is it.
It's more fulfilling because you actually you've made that commitment to yourself to maintain a sense of consistency throughout it, which is not, like you pointed out, it's not always easy, especially if you're having, like you say, had a bad night's sleep and something happens in your personal life and you're frustrated about whatever, or feel a bit under the weather, and you're still there, you're still showing up and whatnot. I think that inspires even more confidence within yourself later on, which is obviously pretty powerful. Interesting what you're talking about as well. I don't think this gets discussed that much in the organic space, is that you quite often will have that thing where you have a sale and that trickles on to sometimes that distance from like 1 sale to like 5 sales in a month or 6 sales, whatever it is. It can be quite small, but then a lot of the time, because the focal point is then on, great, I'm making sales, all of a sudden you've kind of forgotten to top up the top of your pipeline, so to speak. And so therefore you do have that sort of little bit of a roller coaster at times, which from a mindset perspective can be hard to deal with, unless you hear it elsewhere and now you know how to deal with it. So anyway, that's awesome. So in terms of, I guess, because your pathway has been somewhat different, I guess, in some ways, because of the fact that it has felt like it's happened in pretty rapid succession. So what do you feel that you're doing differently?
Okay, good question.
It's not meant to be a curveball.
It's like I keep my blinders on, so I don't compare. So I don't actually know what other people do. I do what I feel it's right. So that's why this is a good question. But I would say, when I talk to people, I would say that the major issue for a lot of them is that they treat all this thing as some kind of like side project, which is fine. But if you expect from that side project that it will have great impact on your life and everything, then it cannot be a side project. It cannot be something that you will just do no matter, and you won't change anything, how you are, how you work, how you think, how you see yourself. You will just have it there and it will do everything. There is a like disconnect. If you want that stuff to work for you a lot, then you have to also you have to embrace it, like not only a side project, but like a transformation that you're going through on all levels. And I think this disconnect of having, I will just treat this just a side project, just something that I do over Sunday, and then expect a lot, that this doesn't compute.
Yeah. I feel like Jacob's going to comment on this one a little bit more, but 2 things you touched on there. Number one was you got to treat it like a business. This is something that I also had to learn the hard way, because I thought I was treating it like a business. I thought, oh yeah, I'm kind of doing this stuff, but realistically, I'd have a couple of nights off, or I'd do whatever. And this is when I was back in the corporate world, of course. And then I'd go away for a week or 2, and then I wouldn't really focus on anything. And I reflected later on. I realized, well, that's you wouldn't really run a company like that. Like, it's not like, even as a side hustle, whatever, which is fine. Like, as a coach mentioned, you don't have to, you know, be doing it full time initially. You can still do it in that manner as a part-time gig, but treating it as an actual business and holding yourself accountable for those tasks that you need to do within your business is going to be one of the differentiators between you kicking butt and not, in my opinion. The second one, and I'm going to hand the mic over to Jacob, so I reckon he's got stuff to say about this, is the blocking out the noise. That there is, I think, is unbelievably powerful, because you haven't jumped into this comparing yourself and going, oh, you know, why haven't I, or why are they getting, you know, that stuff, and blah blah. And it's hard. I find it really hard, to be honest. And so it's something I have to keep giving myself a metaphorical slap to remind myself of. But if you're able to do that right from the beginning, and you understand, well, this is my lane and this is my pathway that I'm going down, you know, all that stuff, a lot of the time it really is just noise, the comparison, what everyone else is doing. And sure, you get advice and you get, like, I guess, you know, inspiration and whatnot at times, but it's still your pathway. And so if you're focusing on your own pathway, then, you know, obviously good things happen, because you're able just to dismiss all that negatively impacting information that you can potentially receive if you're open to it. So I thought that was really, really powerful.
Yeah, no, you nailed it. The negative effects of us absorbing so much of other people's shit is huge. Is absolutely huge. It will muck with your perception of reality, in terms of it can really make you what's the right word? You know, when someone achieves something really good and then they're like, yeah, but, and I've seen this so many times, I'll message someone to congratulate them and I'll be like, dude, you know, amazing job, that's so good. And they're like, yeah, but, you know, I'm nowhere near you. And it's like, dude, like, it's such the wrong way to look at it. Well, I wasn't referring to you in particular, but it's really common. Like,
yeah,
it's super common. It will crush any, you know, positive energy that you can draw out of your wins. And they're the things that need to catapult you from one to another, right? Like, if we never stop to go, that's pretty cool, right? And I'm not standing up on my high horse saying this. I struggle to stop and smell the roses. Trust me. I'm one of those people that's like, did that was cool, let's move on. This is tough for me, and I have to try and actively stop and pause and do it. But if you constantly compare yourself to other people, you will never, ever be happy, because there is always another level, right? There is always going to be another level. The other problem with it is that you become, I've heard a lot of people comment on Katja's content, and I've read some of it myself, and it's very good. And the more you just absorb everybody else's stuff, your creativity is going to be suppressed. Because when you sit down to write, when you sit down to create, all you can think about is all this other stuff that you've read and seen. And you're just going to become a parrot or a sheep that just follows what everyone else is doing and repeats what everyone else is saying, right? And you've just got to spend 3 seconds looking at Facebook to see this. I sent Jamie and Chris a screenshot last night from a post that I saw, and the post made no sense. Like, it was someone trying to give business advice who had no place giving business advice, and the advice was horrendous. Like, anyway, and then you read the comments. Couldn't be worse advice, right? You may as well tell someone to shut down their business. That's how bad the advice was. And then you read the comments and it's like, yes, agree, love it. And I'm like, what is going on? And that's what happens when you just, this group think in a really, really bad way starts to kick in. So that's brilliant. I love that. I can talk about that shit all day.
So is that in your situation, Katja, because obviously that's something that we talk about in SAA a lot, and part of the mindset training is to block out that noise. But was that something that you just inherently already kind of had ingrained into you, just to know I'm going to focus on me and what I can do, or is it something that you've learned along the way type thing?
Well, it was like the first realization was that if I will just, like go in, let's say, SA group and see all those results, and those people are far away, but it will like affect me, and I didn't want that. And I consciously stayed away because I knew, they're far away, far from ahead, but it will, if I see it, and it will like eat me. So I just made a conscious decision to no. I know that I will get there, but yeah, it's on my steps, and that it will mess with my head. And the other thing was that you just don't have time. Why would you spend so much time on searching for stuff if you can spend time that you have with stuff that will like do the changes for you, that will give you good stuff to think about, to test out. So I just focused on, like why would I go on Facebook and scroll and endlessly if I can use that same time to listen to, let's say, Andy's interview again? It was just like scarcity of time, how to use it the best way,
And on that note, just to cover something a little bit more practical in that case, because in that way, how would you balance out doing things like engaging in other people's posts, for example, if you're trying to, I guess, actively sort of avoid some of this stuff? How do you go through your newsfeed and sort of be on people's radars without absorbing the content?
Well, I engage with people that I'm in contact with. I engage with them, and I heard this, and it's really wise that don't let social media to use you, but use social media as a tool. And Facebook is like amazing business tool, so you just go consciously with it. Okay, so I connect it, then I engage. Just like to create relationship and to help algorithm to connect us. But that's it. I don't have to spend like additional 2 hours on on Facebook just because it's endless.
This is something that we've discussed before as well, and an issue that tends to pop up is, and I actually I understand it. I do get it, but the comment tends to be, I keep running into other marketers, and so our counter argument to that is, well, yeah, but widen your circle, and so we almost say it like tongue in cheek, because I mean, clearly we're going to run into other marketers all the time anyway. But I mean, you make that conscious choice about who you connect with, and it's the people that, like you say, that you are connecting with, that maybe they're in a different state of awareness in terms of their customer journey, so to speak, but it's obviously works well for you. You don't necessarily need to run into the same people. You can choose who you connect with, which I think is massively powerful. So talk us through an average day, because I'm guessing at this stage you're doing this full time. I think you mentioned. Yeah. So how does that look in terms of, I guess, what you've got on the go on an average day?
Okay, I wake up really early. I have this habit from before, because when I started this whole thing, kids were homeschooled and I had my previous work, so that 1 hour in the morning was the only hour that I had in a day. So I just kept that habit. But now I wake up, I like to read in the morning. I do yoga, I love yoga and stuff. I do stuff for myself. This is my time. Okay, then kids get up, they get to school, and then I start working, and I start with stuff that it's like hardest for me, let's say content, videos, stuff like this, and then Messenger. Then I have a break. I consciously take breaks because I figured that if I just do that marathon like 10 hours, that it's awful. It takes you time, but you're not productive. You're not, and that breaks that you put in between actually save you time. In the day, they save you time. And you feel better, and you feel you feed brain with something else, and then when you get back behind the screen, it works better. It's like, okay, let's get back. But otherwise, you're just fed up with everything, and it doesn't work. So yeah, and then some connection and some stuff, some calls, and by like 3 o'clock, I'm done with that, and I then have like family life, and I love to take hikes, so I do a lot of hikes. Here we live near hills and in the woods, and I do that. And that's about it. It's not like really luxurious, like Instagram live, but yeah.
That sounds amazing to me, to be honest. That sounds incredible. I like the fact that you've got balance in your day as well. Because I think as entrepreneurs, you kind of, I know for myself, I used to feel a sense of guilt if I wasn't sort of glued to my desk, and it felt like I hadn't been as productive as I could have been that day. I'd feel this sense of guilt if I was going and doing other stuff. So sometimes I'd go for a walk, or sometimes I wouldn't even leave the house because I was like, I'm going to sit in my desk and glue myself in here. But over time, I've learned exactly that I think it's vitally important to, if you're not feeling your creative mojo, just to stand up and go for a wander. And if you're fortunate enough to live near some nice hills, then maybe you can go for a walk there, or just go do something different and make your time, I guess, get that creative energy back, so you can come back with a vengeance and just hammer out the work that you need to do. And as Katja mentioned earlier, if you're not feeling your mojo that day, then get the vital stuff done and sort of take some proper time off and just go, all right, I'm going to go and chillax for a while and see how things roll tomorrow, type thing. That's really powerful, really, really good stuff. And I think, as you mentioned, just that balance and that me time in the morning, I think is kind of important. There was something you mentioned which I was kind of curious about, but did you, and I might have misheard this, so correct me if I'm wrong, but did you say that when you first got started, you're only doing this for about, like the online business stuff, for about an hour a day?
Yeah, I had an hour a day, and I had like 2 hours, 3 hours during Saturday that I could use for this. Yes, I only had that much of time because I have 2 kids. They were both homeschooled because of the lockdown, and I had my previous work. However dying it was, it still took me like 9 to 10 hours a day to just to barely make it, to keep it like on life support, to pay the bills. So this was this was my only time, and I cherished a lot when I heard you, Jacob, that use 20 minutes here, 10 minutes there, just use the slots that you have. So that's when I got into the habit to listen to audiobooks, let's say, during when I walk a dog, so I can just multitask. Or that even, and then when I have like insight, that I just write it. I just stay and I write it, and I have like already like a piece of content or almost done. So just to use the time, to not because I had so little.
That's a great point. For someone who's so busy, we all get told be consistent, and I think what gets twisted is the reality of what that word really means. Consistent doesn't mean 3 hours a day, because not everybody has that. Consistent doesn't mean 8 hours a day, because definitely not everybody has that, especially in this space. Consistent means, in the windows of opportunity, to me anyway, and you can choose to agree or disagree with this, but consistent to me means executing in the windows of opportunity that you have. And it means making that thing that you want to do a priority in those windows of opportunity. If you do that, that's all you can expect of yourself, right?
Yeah.
If you're, wasting time on other things when you could be doing it, then no, you're not being consistent. But if when the opportunities present themselves, right, and factoring in all other aspects of your life, you take advantage of those times, then that's all you can expect of yourself. And beyond that, you shouldn't be too hard on yourself, I don't think.
Yeah.
Massively powerful. There is something else that you mentioned. I mean, if you've got a window of time of 1 hour per day, what that also means is that you might need to help me out here. It's not Pareto's. What's the time shrinks and expands?
Is that Occam's razor?
Parkinson's law, I think it is. If I'm not mistaken. Yeah. And it's
you're saying you fill the time with you will fill the time that you've got. You're essentially
you'll get the shit done in the time allotted, basically, and it actually forces you into that type of stuff. And as Brian mentioned in the comments, making it a priority. But what it also means is that you can't afford that luxury of like sitting down at your computer and just going, well, better check the weather. Oh, that's nice. And well, I remember I had that 15th tab open last night for something. What was that for? Gosh, I want it. But you don't have that luxury because you're just like, bang, we're on. Let's do this type of stuff. So I think that's massively powerful. Yeah, awesome stuff.
The other thing with small windows of opportunity is know what you've got to do when you sit down. So it sounds so simple. It's a to-do list, but a to-do list with another layer of detail, right? Like what I used to do was back when I was starting and I was trains, planes, airports, Ubers, and I wouldn't just say write a blog post. It was like finish this paragraph of this blog post. It was like it was that specific, because then I got in the Uber and I'm like, right, I need to write this part of this thing. Because otherwise what a lot of people do is they've got half an hour and they sit down and they spend 20 minutes of that half an hour thinking about what they were going to do in that half an hour, and then the half an hour's gone. But if you know exactly what you need to do in that half an hour, you get 29 minutes of execution, save for, picking up your coffee and turning your computer on. That's a clear list of things to knock out will significantly increase your time.
How would you put that into practical steps? Like, as in, how much planning would you go to in that instance?
Well, I'd know what I needed to get done in the big picture, as opposed to because I didn't have a big chunk a day, I knew what I needed to do next. So I need to engage with these 10 people, like Katja's just talking about, right? Like there's 10 people's profiles I want to comment on. I need to respond to the people on my hot list, and I need to write one Facebook post about topic, so that when I sit down, I go bang, 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 bang. I send the messages I need to send. I go, all right, I'm writing a Facebook post about blank, and I crank it out. Just another layer of detail other than do my daily action plan, right? Or whatever. That's only if you've got time to spare, you don't need that. It would help, but you don't need it. It's if you're on like a micro time windows, you need to go to another layer of detail so that you're not wasting half of it thinking about it.
Yes, and even later when I had time, and I started to spend like an hour and a half over a post, and what my mentor said, no, that's you spend too much time there. Just 20 minutes. That's it. You have to post whatever you write in 20 minutes, and this actually created the extra time for me, because in hour and a half I spent like 20 minutes on post, but the other 1 and 10 hour I could spend on something else. I could like make an email also, or something other, just so you can artificially create those short time slots to be more efficient. You can say, okay, I will just add for 15 minutes. I will just make this post for 20 minutes, and then you will be left with time, even if you for other stuff, for learning, for doing something like more more strategical, not just tactical.
That's awesome. This is absolutely incredible stuff, because one of my faults is that I don't have I've got freedom, and so therefore as part of that I'm not that great at structuring things the way I used to be back in perhaps the corporate world. So hearing these things, I'm like, yeah, okay, I better start setting myself a few deadlines, get crunch things down into a couple of small tasks rather than having to spend hours on random different topics. So it's really powerful. What other ninja tips and tricks do you do that perhaps you haven't seen other people do?
Myself? Oh, I don't have any ninja tips.
Go through the training and be consistent. That's all ninjas.
Yeah, just be open, be totally open. You will have to transform your whole self. So just be open and start, just without set your ego aside. It doesn't really matter. Yeah, just sit down and listen to people who know the stuff, and then go out and do it, no matter how poor it will be, no matter how strange you will feel, it will get better. Just do it. Just without thinking, just go. So this would be next.
It's like a Nike commercial.
It's so true.
I had no plan B. I had to, and this was what moved me. This was what fueled me, because it's hard at the beginning. You have do the live, show yourself on Facebook. I didn't even use Facebook before, and do make photos of yourself. It's a lot of stuff that you just, it's hard, but no, set this aside and just do them, and it will become easier.
I think it's one of the faults with humans in general, is that they might look at the macro. And so I'm just circling back to something Jacob said before, was back when he was blogging, like if you look at the macro, which is I need to produce X number of articles for these keywords for this thing, and it needs to be 500 words above. So if you look at that isolated, you'd be like, shit, there's way too much to do. How the heck am I going to do that? Oh my God. And so therefore it brings up this emotion of like, kind of like being flustered for a lot of people. But then if you chunk it down that way, going back to the time management thing, like, yeah, it's pretty awesome. It means you can get a ton of stuff done. I think, especially in your case, it's just don't overthink it. Like, put your whatever emotional, I guess, thing that you're feeling at that time, put that aside and just go, yep, okay, like it's as good as I can do in this moment right now, and it's going to get better. And being, I guess, confident enough just to do that as well, I think is really, really.
Because there's only so many things you can do on Facebook, right? Like, it's a cool platform, but let's be real, there's not that many different things you can do. What can you do? You can add people, you can write stuff, you can go live, you can talk to people, and you can engage with people, and you can make your offer better. That's kind of off Facebook. It's like 6 things.
And stories.
Right.
You can.
And stories. Yeah.
Yeah.
7. There's like 7 things you can do. Right.
Yeah.
So if you do a bit of each of that every day, even if it's all not very good, if every day you connect with some new people, you put out some content that's your truth, you engage with some people to give the algo some love, you progress some conversations, you make your offer better, you post some stories of the journey, whatever the other one was. If you do a little bit of that every day in sequence, over a week, over a month, over a quarter, and over a year, those little things are going to add up.
Yeah. Yeah.
Very powerful stuff. Awesome. What's the future hold for you? Where are you taking this business?
It's hard to see in the future, I want to.
It's very hard.
I have some blocks with setting goals. Like by the end of the year, I will be there. So I don't do this, but I create like stuff. Like when I will, let's say, get to that income, I will take my kids to a trip, or I will, I turn it around. I don't I don't think that it's smart to link time to some goal that it's out of your really control, you know. So I don't do that. But other than that, I want to enjoy it, and I want to just keep learning and become better and better, and just that's my, you know, that's my drive.
I love that.
I think that's probably a good opportunity to give credit to as well to Marco. I'm not going to sit here and say SAA is the only influence on Katja, because I know she spent a lot of time with Marco, and he has helped her a lot, and she's what she's said there has come directly from Marco. I can tell.
Yeah.
That's one of his. Which, if you haven't seen the interview we did with him, go watch that.
Yeah.
So full shout out to Marco for the influence he's had on Katja as well.
Yeah, because you can then talk to a person who sees better things that you're just learning, that you're just for the first time experiencing. And Marco had huge. He was a huge, and he is still huge influence, huge help. I would no way I would get to. I would get this far in some time, but not that fast, and not with such clarity, and not with such like understanding of what's really important, and how to do it, and how to detach, and how to create the day, and how to just, you know, if you have a person that you can always ask how to do this, how do I do this, you know, I have these issues, talk to me. And yeah, this is like massive.
And you can see why Marco's done well by the way Katja's talking about Marco, right? There's a lesson in this. That's how much he cares about the people that he sells to. And this isn't even him selling his own product. He sold a SAA, right? That's why Marco's done well, and by extension why Katja's done well, because of the level of support. And that's what everyone should shoot for in terms of, if you're selling something to someone, give a shit. Really, really care.
Yes, and then it spreads. You know, I have the same relationship with people that I get in, you know, because I know how important this is. I know that Marco, what he said to me when we first talked, he said, "You won't be left alone. No, I'm here for you." And he kept that promise, like, and over delivered. But this is what was major for me, and this is what I want to give further too. You know, I say to people this same: you won't be left alone. You know, so it's like it's good practice that just spreads, you know, and helps a lot of people.
My girlfriend says the same thing to me, and I can't get away from her.
Stuck. But that has a flow-on effect as well, clearly, as you mentioned there, because obviously if you've had this experience and it's been in a certain way and it's been positive, then of course you're going to pass that same experience on, and then hopefully there's going to be other people that will also then pass that experience on as well. So it has like a flow-on effect, which I think is incredible. Awesome stuff. Anything else you want to ask at all, Jacob, or discuss?
I don't have any other questions other than to say a massive well done. I love seeing people who, crazy concept, do the work, execute consistently, and get awesome results. I love it. It's fantastic. So well done, Katja, and I'm really excited to see where you take things over the next 12, 24, 5 years, whatever.
Absolutely. Yeah. I might just open up, see if there's any questions. Other than that, was there anything else that any last tips or wisdoms to share with the crowd? All?
I think we said a lot. I don't know what more. You know, I told you before that I will be forgetting words, so now it's happening. So I just forget the words.
Go watch the video with Andy. Clearly.
Yeah.
15 times or more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Minimum. Yeah. It was a good interview, actually. Really good interview.
Yeah,
awesome stuff. Might just give it half a minute, see if anything pops through. What's up, guys? Anything to ask Katja? Otherwise, we might just wrap it up.
I have to say this program. I now I work with I look at a lot of programs in affiliate marketing, and a lot of programs, like many. I for everyone that I stumble upon, I look at it, and I haven't yet found a program that would be like SAA in terms of really focusing on skills, in terms of really like from zero, how to do it from zero when you don't know anything at all, and you're just like, you know, working with food packaging and not knowing anything, and just to not to only to teach you how to do it every day, but also to help you understand the logic behind it, to really get it, what's important in connecting with people, how to talk to people, how to not be, you know, just, oh yeah, here's the link and that's it. And this is like, I haven't yet stumbled upon the same like stuff, not yet, during all this time, like 8 months.
We hear that a lot too. I get a lot of messages from people saying, I connected with one of your affiliates and it was a really good experience. Obviously, every so often you get a rotten egg, so to speak, but most of the time it's very glowing. And I think that's because of what you just said. It's trying to get people to understand the overarching philosophy behind it all, rather than just click here, say this word, you know, do that, do this, because that creates a clone and a robot who's, they're not going to be a particularly valuable business person over the long term. Whereas if they understand the inner workings of it all and why stuff works, that's where the real value comes from, I think.
Yeah.
Awesome stuff. Katja, thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate you tuning in.
Thank you.
That's not a question. Yeah, massively appreciate your time. All the best with the future. Can't wait to see you absolutely continue to blow it up and steal leaderboards and all sorts of groovy stuff. And thanks everyone that tuned in as well.
Thank you.
Thanks, Katja. Cheers. Thanks, everyone.
Bye.